You're Sperp back with another video. I know I am super late, maybe perfect timing to finally get into Arcane. I finally finished Arcane. I wasn't able to, be a part of the hype when it first came out. I don't know what it was. I always was intrigued by just the word of mouth of the show, but I'm going to do my best to kind of talk about each season, just pretty much the stuff that stuck out to me, try to talk about the important things overall. Y'all can let me know how y'all feel about this series as a whole. There will be spoilers, so you have been warned. With all that being said, let's get into my thoughts of Arcane, the series. So going into this really focuses on a lot of interesting characters. These two in particular, Vi and Powder, which later Powder becomes Jinx. I like how they give us the origins of these characters, and Jinx is a character, or Powder I should say, is a character that really looks up to her sister Vi. But then, once they go on this run, they come across these gemstones, which ties into something I'll get into shortly into this review. They get into a little bit of this situation, and they're from these this area called the Lanes, which takes place in this city called Zaun. Get into all that. There's just a lot of information that they drop in these two seasons, so bear with me. So there ends up being something that happens where Powder ends up killing some of her friends, and this leads Vi lashing out on her and pretty much saying, like, you're dead to me. And that causes a rift where they meet later down the line in life, and now she has this new persona called Jinx, where her mind is like really fractured. But I really like Jinx's character overall out of everybody's character. It's just because she struggles with, the whole abandonment thing with her sister, and this leads them to constantly always clash. We also get introduced to Vander. He's kind of like the leader of the Lanes and stuff like that. He has a brother named Silco, which Silco ends up, killing his brother. And we also get introduced to this thing called Shimmer, which ends up turning him into like kind of a monster and kind of goes crazy. But that also kind of ties, or is kind of parallel to what Powder and Vi kind of go through. But Silco takes Jinx under his wing, or Powder under his wing, to pretty much manipulate her and use her as a tool. But also he actually has sympathy for her, looks at her as like pretty much a daughter. And Silco is a really interesting character because he wants the Lanes and just Zaun to have complete independence from the council and Piltover. That's like the upside. That's like the high class bougie people and stuff like that. But he's interesting because he's always manipulating people, and that catches up to him by the end of this first season, which leads to his death. And this leads Jinx to kind of do something very bold, where she ends up attacking the council, and some of the council members end up dead. And that leads into another character I'll talk about shortly in this review. But yeah, just that whole setup and how we kind of deal with things in the first season, where it's all a setup to get to this like final confrontation in season 2, where now you have all these different people going to war with one another. But it's all because of these two characters, Jace and Victor. And These two have the most complex storyline in both seasons. So they are the ones to kind of introduce magic to the world with this hex tech, and it just grows and grows. They both have like similar goals where they initially wanted to bring magic into the world to help people that needed it. They never wanted to use it for weapons, but of course, when you have that much power, there's going to be people that are greedy and they're going to manipulate you into using these things for weapons, which ends up happening and causes a rift between these two. And I really like how they set this up to make it look like Jace was going to be the one to go evil and make it look like Victor is the good guy, the one that has the good morals and whatnot. But they really flipped that once you go into season 2, where now, you know, with Victor, he's kind of trying to fix himself. He ends up fusing with this hex core thing, and it turns him into this like godlike being, which then leads to just even more chaos and more people just backstabbing each other. Just everything is a literal mess. And with this stuff going on and the stuff that Jinx does by the end of season 1, that's how we kind of shift things into season 2, where everything is just absolute chaos. So now when we go into season 2, everything's in disarray between Piltover and Zaun, where now both sides are fighting for power to be at the top or to control Zaun. You have all these like underlings that were led by Silco, but now that he's kind of gone, other people are willing to take up that mantle, even going as far as to trying to make deals with Piltover to turn in Jinx, because Jinx is public enemy number 1 on both sides. Like, nobody really likes her. A lot of people just want her dead because of what she has done. And what I like about what this ends up doing is there's this character named Caitlyn. Now, Caitlyn is, you know, a part of the Piltover like military and stuff like that. Her mom was a part of the council. She ends up dying, and she ends up having this kind of relationship with Vi. And at first she was kind of brainwashed, but then she starts to kind of come around towards the first season, but then kind of dives back into, you know, rising in the ranks because of the whole Jinx killing her mom. And that was a really interesting kind of storyline for her, because she is very much conflicted, because she loves Vi, but she hates Jinx. She wants to see her dead because she took away her mother. Just a lot of conflictions with all these different characters and stuff like that kind of hold them back from going all the way to the dark side. But Caitlyn was a really interesting character. Another interesting character that I didn't expect to come out of nowhere and almost damn near steal the show is Mel, because Mel kind of is the one that started to plant the seeds and manipulate Jace from the start to kind of join the council and, you know, start to kind of get into the politics of things. And then when you get to meet her mom, and Bessa, you realize that she is really one of the big antagonists and stuff, because she's just thirsty for power. But then when you realize that Mel has this kind of like secret, and she's able to get this like tap into this power in season 2, things really start to take a change. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of changes, going into season 2, the more that kind of Jinx goes along with things, she kind of starts to realize her mistakes. And once she meets this little girl Isha, she has a kind of a change of heart. She kind of has this redemption arc in season 2. And man, what Isha does when this whole war thing kind of pops off and sacrifice herself to kind of save Jinx, and that whole shit with them finding out that their father was still alive but trapped in this werewolf body, this monster's body. It's a lot of shit going on, bro. There was so much going on, but that was a crazy ass scene, crazy ass sacrifice. But this character is what made kind of Jinx soften up a bit, and we get that redemption arc. But shout outs to Echo though. If it wasn't for Echo, everybody would pretty much be dead. You know what I'm saying? He comes in clutch and pretty much saves everybody's ass by the end of it. I really liked how everything kind of concluded. Season 2 introduced a lot. It jumped around a bit, but I feel like they really landed the plane overall with this series. I just liked how it started to how it finished. All these different arcs, you know what I'm saying? I really liked Jinx and Vi, even though, if we're being honest, in my opinion, Vi's story arc was kind of weak. But at the same time, I'm cool with just how it ended up going. Jinx is my favorite next to, Jace and Victor's whole storyline. I really like Silco as a villain. Also, I gotta talk about this animation, man, because this animation style is what I've always wanted out of 3D animation, because I'm so sick of the same old boring Pixar, DreamWorks, Disney animation that's just bland. I like when we have animators that are talented, or they're just trying to push the bar, where it's like Into the Spider-Verse, Puss in Boots or something like that. But Arcane really is next level when it comes to the 3D animation. Just how it goes from the style that you see to almost photorealistic, to using like 2D type of things, and just really going crazy. They really go crazy in season 2. I'm just like, wow. When you hear that this costs like $250 million, it definitely shows. But let me know how you guys feel about Arcane in the comments below. I know I couldn't go super in depth with each individual season, but hopefully I did a good enough job for you to kind of get the gist on what's going on here. Moral of the story: when you have a power such as this, as like Arcane or the magic, in the wrong hands, it could be very tragic. In the right hands, you know what I'm saying, it could do wonders. You know what I'm saying? That's what's fascinating as a whole. But until next time, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.